Excuse me, hold on a second. Your Honor, excuse me for a second.
Meet Keison Wilkins, a man facing trial for serious crimes. Charged with multiple offenses, the courtroom is tense, and the evidence against him is overwhelming.
She informed me that she had family in another part of Ohio.
She did not provide me with that information, no.
But then, Wilkins makes a move so unexpected that it leaves everyone in shock. In a scene that looks like it was ripped straight from a Hollywood thriller, he suddenly clutches his chest, staggers, and collapses to the ground.
We're going to take a break, ladies and gentlemen. If you'll please step out.
The courtroom erupts into chaos. Lawyers stand up in confusion. Even the judge looks momentarily caught off guard. Is this real, or is this something else? At first, everything seemed normal. Wilkins, representing himself, was standing at the defendant's table, listening intently as the case against him unfolded, but you could see it in his face. He was losing control. The prosecution was relentless, and the weight of his crimes was becoming undeniable. And then, the unexpected happened. Boom! Just like that, the entire courtroom holds its breath. Some think he's having a heart attack. Others are frozen in shock, unsure of what to do. The judge looks on, assessing the situation, while the bailiffs and emergency personnel rush to his side. It's a moment of pure courtroom drama. But here's the catch. When medical personnel arrive and begin their assessment, something becomes clear. Wilkins isn't having a heart attack. He isn't suffering from a stroke. In fact, there is absolutely nothing wrong with him.
Mr. Wilkins, your disruptive behavior was challenging your ability to continue to represent yourself. You've been checked out by a registered nurse as an emergency medical technician, all of whom indicate that there is nothing physically wrong with you, nor any reason why you couldn't continue here, sir. Your constitutional right to represent yourself is not a license to abuse the dignity of the courtroom.
It was all an act, hoping the court would delay proceedings. So why would someone go to such extremes? Well, in high-stakes cases, defendants sometimes resort to outrageous tactics in an attempt to disrupt or delay the inevitable. But in this case, the judge wasn't falling for it, and the trial continued as planned. And in the end, he was sentenced to 42 years in prison.
And if this is your choice, then I will continue with closing arguments from the state.
A failed performance, a wasted effort, and a reminder that no matter how clever you think you are, the law always catches up with you. A shocking crime, a man with a violent past, and a courtroom battle that would change everything.
Investigators release some new information today about the Berrien County courthouse shooting that left 2 bailiffs there dead.
This is the case of Larry Gordon, where justice and controversy collide. Larry Gordon's name became infamous for a series of crimes that left an entire community shaken. From accusations of murder to legal battles that would test the justice system, his story is one of violence, fear, and a desperate fight for freedom. Larry Gordon had a history of legal troubles, but in this particular case, the stakes were higher than ever. It was supposed to be just another night at Club Bellissimo in Baltimore, but everything changed when a heated argument turned deadly. Witnesses say Larry Gordon, working as a security guard, found himself at the center of a deadly confrontation. Shots were fired. The prosecution had a different story, one that painted him as a dangerous man with a violent past. With the courtroom packed, the trial became a battleground. The prosecution brought up Gordon's history of violent incidents, while the defense argued that he had no choice but to pull the trigger. Was he a victim of circumstance or a cold-blooded criminal? And then, the moment everyone was waiting for, the jury reached a verdict. Larry Gordon was found guilty of murder and attempted murder, a middle school student, a loaded gun, and a plan that could have ended in tragedy. This is the shocking case of Quincy Tuttle, an 11-year-old boy who walked into Frontier Middle School armed with a .22 caliber handgun, over 400 rounds of ammunition, and multiple knives.
scary morning for students at 2 Vancouver schools after a weapon was found at Frontier Middle School.
Jeff, students are safe, and the boy who brought the weapon to school was questioned by police, but parents were left in the dark.
His target, a fellow student who had allegedly called his friend gay. But before he could carry out his plan, everything changed. At first, nothing seemed unusual. It was just another day at Frontier Middle School in Vancouver, Washington. Quincy Tuttle had something sinister in mind. Hidden in his backpack were multiple knives, fully loaded magazines, and a .22 caliber pistol tucked away in his pocket.
First, he steals his parents' gun. He just grabs it and he hides it, and he's successful in regards to hiding it. I believe that occurred on the 17th.
His plan was clear. He would shoot the student in the arm as a warning, then turn the gun on himself. But something happened. His mother. That morning, she noticed something strange. Kitchen knives were missing from their home. Concerned, she called the school, alerting them just in time. The school resource officer quickly found Tuttle, searched his backpack, and uncovered the weapons.
These are serious charges. I see him as a risk to himself. I see him as a risk to others. 6-year-old sister in the home, as well as an older sibling in the home. I can't make any kind of a recommendation that he be released at this time.
But why would an 11-year-old go to such extremes? Court documents later revealed that Quincy claimed to have heard voices in his head, voices urging him to carry out the attack. Whether this was a result of deep emotional distress, bullying, or an untreated mental health issue, one thing was certain. This case was far more complex than it appeared. When taken into custody, Tuttle was charged with attempted murder and unlawful possession of a firearm. But there was another issue: his age. At just 11 years old, was he even fit to stand trial? A judge ruled that despite his young age, he was legally competent. He understood the consequences of his actions, and the legal process moved forward.